Welcome to Creative Brews. I'm Kristen, and this is your weekly dose of creativity, where photography, design, and life come together. So, grab your favorite drink, and let's talk about what's brewing. Hello, and welcome back to another episode. I hope you all are having a fantastic time with season 2. I know I am. I want to talk about the art of not feeling 100%. How to flow instead of force. Of course, we all know that you can't force something. So yes, go ahead and grab you a coffee, a tea, or a snack, or anything like that, and let's go ahead and get started. So, we're not talking about productivity hacks, or glow-ups, or how to do more, how to grind more, and all this other stuff. We're talking about something that is way more honest. What do you do when you're just not feeling 100%? I would love for everybody to leave that in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. So, yeah, when your energy is off, when your motivation isn't there, when your mind is foggy, your emotions are loud, or your body is just like, no, we're not doing this today. I'm laughing because I feel like this is something that we have all experienced at some point in time, or from time to time. So, yeah, I mean, let's just be honest. Life doesn't pause just because we're not doing our best. And that is a big, major pill, per se, to swallow. So, in today's episode, if that's something you're interested in, that's basically what we're going to be talking about. Of course, some psychology behind off days and mindset shifts that can actually help. Maybe a little bit of the woo-woo side, of course. You gotta kind of have some spirituality, per se, in there, of honoring your energy. And the real life strategies to still move forward without burning yourself out, and how to still move forward in all of this. So, yes, this is the art of not feeling 100%, and still showing up in a way that feels aligned. So, of course, you all know I have coffee. Let's go ahead and talk about normalizing not feeling 100%. I think this is something, again, that we can all agree that maybe we've been there. Maybe you've been there from time to time. I know I have. So we've been conditioned to believe we should feel good, motivated, and productive 100% of the time. But that's just not how us humans work, obviously. Your energy is not meant to be constant. You're not supposed to have energy 100% of the time. You know, there's ups and downs to life. There's the ebbs and flows of life. And so is to us humans, right? So, yes, it fluctuates. It responds, it's up, it's down, and all around. So, we're going to talk about a few things here, because we live in a society that glorifies consistency, which equals same output every day. We also live in a society where you grind and you work hard, you work yourself to the bone, and again, that equals same output every day, right? But real consistency is showing up in different ways depending on your capacity. Of course, this depends on quite a bit of things. It depends on your brain. It depends on where you're at in your life. It depends on where you're at on your journey, your life path. It depends on your goals. It depends on your schedule. It's a lot to it, right? But it is achievable. And we also sort of live in a society. I know I keep saying that, and it probably gets old. But the more I think about it, it's so true. So it's kind of hard to not say it. But yeah, I mean, we do live in a society where you do X, Y, Z to achieve 1, 2, 3, or whatever it is, right? And you get praised on it, and oh, you should do more. You got to do more of that, and all this stuff. We don't really live, and I do plan on actually doing an episode about societal norms and how our society and the systems that it has built to make us think that they're here to help, or we built this to help humanity and all this stuff, when really, not really. Sadly, I guess maybe the more I get older, or the more you think about it, the more you actually sit down and think about it, our society was not really built to help as far as like mindfulness and all this other stuff goes. So, yeah. Your brain plus body naturally go through high energy states, low energy states. High energy states, of course, you're more creative and action driven and you want to move forward and you're motivated. Low energy states means processing, resting, integration, and sometimes expansion. Sometimes when you're expanding in your life, you can experience some low energy states where maybe you're like, you know what, I just kind of want to rest today. Let me do a rest day. That's the reason why in my planner, I actually do have rest days scheduled. I know that sounds funny to some people, but when you take your life seriously, especially if you're trying to build something, and there's quite a bit of things that I'm trying to build. I'm not just trying to build a business. I'm building an ecosystem, which is different than, I'm just building this business, right? So, yes, I'm trying to build my business. I'm trying to build this podcast. I'm trying to build my books. Yes, I said books with an S. There are other books that I want to write, just because, like this podcast and like my business, everything that I create are different extensions of my business. And like I said, I'm building more of an ecosystem than just a business that offers X services and all this stuff. So, yes. Anyways, let's move right along. I don't want to make this episode too long. So, I do want to emphasize here that you're not failing when you feel, whether you feel high energy states or low energy states. You're just fluctuating. So, let's go into some psychology of off days. So, when you're not feeling 100%, it's usually not laziness. It's your nervous system actually trying to communicate something. So if you are pretty self-aware of yourself, then you should kind of tune into, okay, well, why am I not feeling 100%? What have I done? What have you experienced? Maybe you're doing too much. Maybe you're trying to divvy up yourself into a bunch of different angles or lanes or whatever you want to call it, and you're not taking time to rest. As we all have heard, especially if you are building a business or a book or a podcast or whatever it is that you're building, it's not I gotta hurry up and get there. It's more so a marathon. I think the saying goes is it's not a sprint, it's a marathon or something like that, which basically is just saying that you need to, have a goal and forward momentum, but you shouldn't be bending over backwards, and you shouldn't be staying up all night and trying to get this to force something to happen, or staying up all night to work on something, or getting up early in the morning to work on stuff. And what I'm not saying is that you shouldn't say, well, I'm going to wake up early in the morning and do XYZ before I fully start my day. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you are having to spend extra time in the afternoon or in the morning or both, you are going to burn yourself out. So instead, this is something that I've had to do. This is why I'm talking about all these things, is because if you do not shift your mindset, you are going to burn yourself out. It's just a matter of time. It's a matter of when. And it's a matter of, well, I've hit my limitations. I'm trying to do all these things. Nothing's working out, and all this other stuff, right? So, yeah, you have to instead, this is something that, again, I've had to shift into, is what I like to call focused blocks of time. So, some of my blocks of time consist of waking up early. So usually I wake up early, way before my business hours even starts, and I try to go ahead and, especially if I'm working on something like a book, because I get asked so many times, oh my gosh, you're so busy. How do you keep going? How do you get everything done? And stuff like that. And let me tell you, one of those things, it comes from a recipe, right? And what recipe works for me is gonna, be different for you. So my thing is that if I know I'm working on something like a book or projects or whatever it is, or I need to get some things uploaded or whatever, then I try to wake up pretty early. And see, our little one now is waking up around 7, between 7 o'clock and 7:30, sometimes 8 o'clock if it's, kind of late, quote unquote, in the morning. So usually I try to wake up around 4:30 or 5, just to go ahead and try and get whatever it is that I need to get done, right? So that is my focused block of time. A lot of times at night, what I'll do is, after I put our little one down, which his bedtime is around 7:30, 8 o'clock, of course, this looks different day to day. It's not, consistently at the same time every single day, because it's not going to be, because life still lifes, you know what I mean? So your life is still going to be lifing at the end of the day, but what works for you is not going to work for me. What works for me is not going to work for you, right? So, but what I'm saying is that you need to get serious about your blocks of time, because that's the only way you're going to be able to move forward, because you still have your life to balance. It's all a balance. I think that's the best way to put it. Okay, let's move on. So, mental fatigue equals decision overload, overstimulation, emotional weight, your emotional baggage, unresolved stress, comparison, pressures. You know, all these things we have to deal with. That's why I kind of just chalked it up to balancing your life. Physical energy, sleep, nutrition, hormones. If you're a woman, hormones can play a factor into all this. Your environment can also majorly. Yeah, your sleep. All these things are very important. Your sleep, your nutrition, your hormones, your environment. Are you working out? Are you having some kind of movement throughout the day? If not, you will be surprised at how much energy you actually gain when you incorporate some kind of movement into your day. And it doesn't have to be every single day you do some kind of movement. I noticed that when I got used to walking outside, and I say that like that because I had a C-section. So it was not planned. There was no planned C-section or anything like that. So as soon as I could, I got to moving and walking and stuff like that. So I even started sort of moving lightly when, before I got cleared. But I say it like that because if you're someone who's not used to walking or doing some kind of outside activity, it's going to hurt. There's going to be pain. But if you can get through that, and if you can push yourself, it's a mental game, but you're going to have to push yourself, or your significant other is going to have to be your pusher, right? So that way you have some kind of support system. That's also another key thing here to talk about is your support system. I don't think I listed that in physical energy, but I don't know where that would really lay. I think it would be its own thing. But what is your support system? Do you have one? Do you not have one? Either way, you can succeed. Just saying. If you want it bad enough, yeah. Okay, so some key idea here to think about is that your brain is trying to protect you, not sabotage. So, again, from what I've spoke about before, I think it was an episode or 2 ago, maybe 3, by the time I upload this. I'm not really too sure when I'm going to upload this one. We'll see. But your brain tries to keep you safe, people. It tries to protect you. And sometimes when you're challenged with change, your brain says, whoa, 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 wait a minute, let's go back to this, even though we hated it, we didn't like it, whatever it is in your life, it could be plenty of different things. Yes, your brain is going to try to keep you safe. Burnout doesn't come from doing too little. It comes from doing too much without listening. So tune in, be self-aware. If you're not self-aware, you can learn awareness and stuff like that, which is also a future episode I do plan on talking about. Okay, let's move into the woo-woo side here. The energy and the alignment. Not every day is meant for pushing. Like I've said before, some days are meant for resting, receiving, reflecting, or resetting. Those are the 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it 4? Yeah. The 4 R's of of this episode, right? So rest, receiving, reflecting, and resetting, and or resetting. So energy alignment over forced productivity is major. You cannot create aligned work from a misaligned state or misguided state. Your intuition often gets louder when your energy is lower. That's definitely something I've noticed. Definitely something that's real key here. Is when, let's say you're not really a big self-aware person, your awareness, you tend to ignore your awareness. A lot of people are operating on autopilot these days. It's a proven fact. If just take a look around the next time you're out in public, and you can literally see who's on autopilot and who is experiencing life. Yeah, the more you ignore your awareness, the more your intuition gets louder. Okay, so here's a few concepts and stuff to maybe think about, reflect on, or something like that. Low energy doesn't mean low worth. Rest is productive. It's just productive in a totally different frequency. It's productive in a totally different way. Your energy is part of your strategy, and when all these hit home, that's when you're like, okay, yeah, whoa, wait a minute. So, instead of asking, how do I push through this? Try asking, what is this energy asking of me? So we're going to move into what to do when you're not feeling 100%. These are going to be some practical, actionable steps that you can actually integrate into your life today. So number 1, adjust your expectations, not your worth. 2 totally different things there. Stop trying to operate at 100% when you're not feeling it. Stop trying to operate at 100% when you're feeling 40%. Shift your standards for the day, not your self-belief. Maybe even try to set some intentions day to day. These are different than goals, okay? Example here. Instead of, I need to get everything done. I know we've all been there. It's easy to say that. Try saying or shift it into, what are the 1 to 2 things that I actually need to get done today? What are the 1 to 2 things that actually matter today? Number 2, match the task to your energy. This is something that I do. Not only do I set intentions, and I don't do intention setting every single day, but I do try to match the tasks to the energy of the day. So, not all work requires the same type of energy. This being, high energy tasks, filming content, strategy, big decisions, so things that cause or need big decisions, you're not going to be doing every single day. You're not going to be filming content every single day. This is something that I break up, and when I do have the time, I try to batch film content, which is also something that I plan on talking about. If this is something that you're not doing, and let's say you're a business owner, or maybe you're just trying to be a content creator or something like that, batch filming is your best friend. That's all I have to say. Try to take 1 to 2 days, or maybe even a week if need be, to batch create or batch film content. Low energy tasks. So this is editing, organizing, responding to emails, all the admin stuff. Light creative work. Do you do brain dumps? Soft creation instead of polished content. This is something that I think should be talked about, because we are all the time talking about, oh, well, I need to post that, but it doesn't look good, so I can't post it yet. And 9 times out of 10, it never gets posted. Just post it. Not everything you create needs to be polished. Number 4, honor the pause without spiraling. Rest, but don't disconnect from yourself completely. So the difference here is intentional rest equals healing. Avoidance equals prolonging the cycle. It's 2 things I've definitely experienced. So yes, rest with awareness is not guilt. You should be able to rest even with your awareness and still say this is productive, because it is. That's the only way you're going to be able to keep going. Number 5, shift your identity in the moment. Instead of I'm being unproductive, try I'm in a slower phase and that's part of my rhythm. Let's talk about a few things of what not to do. Don't force high performance. It leads to burnout, lowers quality anyway. So even if let's say you spent hours on your polished content, and guess what? 9 times out of 10, it doesn't perform. And then you just throw up something that you barely even edited, you barely even, done much to, and it outperforms your polished content. Why? Because you didn't create the polished content from heart, or you didn't create it with heart, excuse me. So when you don't create from the heart or with heart, this is something I think I talked about in the last season, so season 1 of Creative Brews, which you should definitely tune into. I honestly cannot remember which episode it was, but when you do that, when you don't create from the heart, it usually bombs. Hate to break it to you. Number 2, don't shame yourself. Shame drains more energy than the task itself. Do not be your own worst enemy. Number 3, don't compare your low days to someone else's highlight reel. Excuse me. Let me say that again. Don't compare your low days to someone else's highlight reel. You're comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight. Honestly, I'm just going to go out on a whim here, and I'm going to say, if you're someone who does compare yourself to someone else, I would literally advise to stay off of social media until you feel better. or until you start to feel like, okay, I feel more productive, I feel, more high energy and stuff like that. So we're going to do a little bit of reframing here of productivity. Productivity isn't just an output. It's energy. It's alignment. Resting equals being productive. Processing emotions equals being productive. Slowing down, being present is being productive. Productivity isn't about doing more. It's about doing what actually matters in the moment that you're in. And this is where we are going to close today's episode. So if you're listening to this and today is just not your day, it's a low energy day, I want you to hear this. You're not behind, you're not lazy, you're not falling off. You are human. And you are allowed to move differently on different days. There is an art to not feeling 100%, and it's learning how to flow with yourself instead of forcing yourself. So instead of asking, how do I do more? Or I need to do more, try asking, how can I support myself better? How can I flow instead of force? And move from there. So, if today's episode resonated with you, I would love for you to share it with someone who needs to hear this. Maybe they need this as a reminder. Yes, and as always, I truly, truly, truly am amazed by the support that this podcast consistently gets, and I hope you all are having a fantastic week. And please be sure to rate, subscribe, comment. You can DM me and do all the things, of course, so that way you don't miss an episode. And do not forget to tune into the magic of this very moment. I say that at the end of a little series that I started on my Instagram. It's called the Now Frequency Mindful Moments. Yeah, anyways, I say at the end, tune into the magic of this very moment. I feel like this is kind of fitting here. And so, yeah, I will see you all in the next episode. Bye!